Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants.
I'm Sandy Kreisberg, the HBS guru.
Welcome to another edition of Handicapping Your MBA Odds. Today we have a 30-year-old female, a European, who has a 700 GMAT, a 3.6 from Dickinson College. For the last 5 years, she's been working in the world of advertising. For the first 2 at Saatchi in New York, and for the last 3 at a very large agency in Paris. She wants to go and get an MBA degree. What do you think about this candidate?
Well, there's a lot of terrific and interesting extras. That,
yes.
That the way that she's told us about, including working for Saving the Lions in Africa, was represented Dickinson at the Business Today conference, Ultimate Frisbee team member, studied abroad in China, independent project on new media. Then she's worked at the large advertising firms, Saatchi and TBWA, which she tells us are the most prestigious, largest advertising firms in the world. I believe it. So she's an exciting, interesting character, 30 years old.
And she'd like to do her own innovation strategy firm, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that. The short-term goal is to get the business savvy to create a new kind of innovation consultancy capable of delivering a full range of business brand solutions as a standalone unit, which is in a consultancy. That's the short-term goal.
Yep.
Or maybe the short-term goal is to get an MBA and then do that. Here's some advice. This is a very attractive profile. You can tell by reading both the lines and between the lines. She's exciting, liberally interesting European who's, thrived in America, thrived in Europe, is in this world of these huge advertising firms. All that's great. This goal of creating a new kind of internet, do you know what that means, John?
No, but I know that innovation is an important piece of the puzzle today. Business schools are gaga over innovation.
After you get in, yeah. It's one of those things where, here's my advice to her, okay? Say you want to go back to advertising, become an impactful leader, and that could include doing X, Y, and Z, and you admire innovative leaders in advertising like A, B, and C. Don't tell business schools you want to invent something new. That's okay to say after you get in. But admissions offices are very conservative, and they want to make sure you've got a realistic idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is a small point, but that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she wants to go to either European schools like LBS, INSEAD, or Cambridge. I think you're quite strong at those schools where you are now. I think your chances at those schools are very good.
And she's a slightly older candidate as well.
Yeah,
they do tend to accept slightly older candidates.
That's true.
Right.
At HBS and Morton, here's some tough love. 700 GMAT, which used to be okay, is now, I hate to say it, but the facts are the facts. You might, if you really wanted to do something, you might try and get a 720 GMAT. That could make a difference at Wharton and could also make a difference at HBS, where it counts a little less, but even at HBS.
And I bet, at HBS there aren't many women like this in the pool. How many working for international advertising agencies, both in New York and Paris? She comes across as a really sophisticated candidate.
That's why I agree with you.
Yeah.
But that's why the goals are important. She really has to, and she might be able to do it. It's just, a shorthand description here. She really has to be able My advice would be to present goals that are a natural, conservative outgrowth of what she's doing, pointing to mentors and saying, my goals are to be an innovative and impactful leader in international advertising, and that could mean X, Y, or Z, of which this, what does she say here? New kind of innovation consultancy.
Right.
That could be one of them.
Yeah.
But if you present yourself as going to business schools because you want to totally reform the goals of advertising or invent a new kind of advertising, they sometimes read between the lines and say you're a burnout. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. And business schools are in the business of trying to create leaders. I mean, that's what they want when they bring a candidate in. I know it's rhetoric, but it's really true as well. So to position yourself as someone who has leadership aspirations in a global advertising firm to make an impactful difference is kind of where you want to be.
And let me say this. There's not a lot of advertising.
Right.
There's not a lot of people from advertising firms who apply to business school. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that advertising leadership is sui generis. Do you know the leaders of the 5 biggest advertising firms?
I'm afraid
Do they have
I don't.
MBAs?
I'm afraid I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that could be. I would say play it conservatively as to goals. I want to be a innovative, impactful leader in changing advertising business that requires many skills, including managing an international workforce, being aware of the changing advertising environment, which is now becoming increasingly digital, yada, yada, yada. And that's what I would say.
Okay, Harvard odds.
With this GMAT score, Harvard odds, 30%.
And if she got a
35%.
And if she got a 720, what do you think? How would that change? Give her a
You're
sense.
killing me here. That would make it 35 to 40%.
Okay, Wharton. The odds probably jump a lot higher with a 720 for her.
Yeah. You know, there's something about advertising people in general that business schools just read as flaky. No matter how, yeah.
Has nothing to do with Mad Men.
I don't know what it has to do with. What it has to do with, excuse me, is the fact that advertising people don't apply. That's what it has to do with.
Yeah.
So they go, huh? What?
You know, because both Harvard and Wharton play up their whole marketing departments and the
Marketing
marketing
and advertising
faculty.
are 2 different worlds.
Well, I understand that they can be, but they often collide together, do they not?
The question is, does the admissions office think so?
Yeah.
So that's the limited nature of our inquiry. We live in a very narrow universe here.
So Wharton odds.
They ain't much higher than the Harvard odds in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Her odds-
LBS, NC odd, and Cambridge.
Her odds are much better there. I think they're approaching 50%, maybe even more. Those schools like stories like this. She's accomplished, she's European. They don't care so much. They're not obsessed with GMAT scores yet. I hope that remains the case.
Right.
Those schools run older. All of their European tiny quirks break in her favor.
Yeah.
So I think she's real solid at LBS.
And her 700 is above
Cambridge.
the averages at all 3 schools, incidentally.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and I would say she should, if she's going to apply to Cambridge, she should apply to Oxford as well.
Sure.
Who knows? You might get a scholarship. There you go. Well, good luck. You're going to a business school somewhere for sure. You come off as a really smart, sophisticated candidate, and any school will be very lucky to have you. I'm John Byrne for Poets and Quants. May your MBA dreams come true.